Right. What is up, y'all? Welcome to the very first episode of the I Speak Good podcast. This is where I came through. Yeah, it's gonna be like that, y'all. Oh yeah. Hey. What is up, y'all? Your boy Dumptruck here, and welcome to the very first episode of the I Speak Good podcast. Really excited for my very first show, and I'm really stoked and grateful that all of you are here. Thank you for spreading the word. Thank you for following on Instagram and all the things that come with it. Today is going to be a little bit of an introduction. I know we all kind of know each other. Maybe we don't, but we're going to start finding out now. And, well, I want to start the story in Memphis, Tennessee in 2002. And that's where we're going to begin. But let's get to that here in a minute. And I just want to let everyone know that wonders, like, what is I Speak Good? What is the I Speak Good podcast? Well, the I Speak Good podcast is a short form radio show that's caller activated. And the subject matter is going to be literally what's happening now around us, and news and motorcycle stuff. And I thought of this the other day, a little bit of everything. And this is also a place where your voice can be heard. We have the I Speak Good hotline, the ISG hotline at 844. Wait, is that even the phone number? That's how new it is. I got to remember my own hotline number. I seriously have made so many social media posts about that hotline number that I 100% should know it. And apparently I don't. It's 833-474-2010. And I should be ashamed of myself, basically. We do have a lot of voicemails on there. Some of them are fresh from today. So we'll get to those at the end of the show. It is how we're going to end every show here at I Speak Good, is with a taste of the hotlines. And if you want to know what to leave on the hotline, it could be a shout out to me. It could be a shout out to a friend that you know is listening or watching. It could be, hey, there's this event coming up. I want to make people aware of it. It could be a lot of stuff. And I'm here for it. Leave a voicemail. I'm going to review these before every single show, and then we're going to play them as the ending segment to every single show. And when I say ending segment, I mean it's going to be wrapping up the show that I don't really want to last more than an hour. Sometimes the conversations will lean to a little bit longer times, but all in all, this is supposed to be short form. Something you can actually sit down, sink your teeth into, and listen, rather than have just kind of like be in the background for hours on end. We are absolutely going to be interviewing folks. Some of it will be called in, and we'll do like the side-by-side screen for the YouTube folks that want to watch it rather than listen to it. Obviously, we get the audio from that too. I'll let you listen. And yeah, that's just kind of where we're at. So a lot of really exciting things coming. I'm very excited to start telling my story so I can start talking about other things. I am literally one of those people that would much rather throw your birthday party than my own birthday party, which, by the way, is being thrown tomorrow. It is the day before my 45th birthday. And what comes with birthdays more than anything? Reflection. You think about the year prior, whenever you're at these key birthdays, like these kind of anniversaries, these rounded numbers with the zeros and the fives on the end. It's really a lot more reflection than typical, I would think. A lot more than normal. You know, usually I'm trying to be present. How am I treating the people around me in my home, out in public, in the workplace, animals, birds, whatever? Like, how am I affecting the world around me? But when these anniversaries come up, like 45, that's a milestone, right? Supposed to get a few things checked out over at the doctor that I never got checked out before. So I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about as those doctor appointments come through. Just having dreams of colonoscopy. Never mind. That's a little awkward. Actually, it's very awkward. Anyways, so am I. So here we go. I'm going to start now. 2002. And I'm starting here because this is when my voice career began. We will absolutely touch on things throughout history before then. But for all of the purposes of starting a podcast, let's talk about how I got here. And I got here fresh out of the Navy. I went back to Memphis, Tennessee. It's where I graduated high school from. And Houston High School, go Mustangs, woo. And when I got back from the Navy, I learned so much and been so many places, said yes to so many different things I never thought I'd say yes to before, to where my brain was just like wide open and I was a sponge. And I'd learned about being on the move and in different environments and being in the mix with different types of people, which is kind of different to how I was brought up. Because I was brought up in the church, very religious, had its own insulated community, right? And everyone kind of stays within it. And it was, I mean, I have so many great stories from those years. But this was a new age. This was a new time for me. Like, this was my coming out party, basically. And it lasted like a good 20 years. Still going. I guess I should put these on my head so I don't look like such a weirdo. Well, news for me, that's not going to help. 2002, get out of the Navy, run into one of my old buddies. He's in this really great band called Ashley Red. And so I start hanging out at the music space with him because music, who doesn't want to hang out with rock and roll bands? I'm 22 years of age at the time, and I also figured out that this whole bouncing thing was a deal. Like, you could work in the bars and have a really great time doing it, and there was a job where you could put on your white hat and go beat the snot out of assholes. And I was a runt growing up my whole life, and so I took this as an opportunity to, get mine, because I was no longer a runt. So I started working in Beale Street, and in the Beale Street Entertainment District, all in all, like all over the place, and that was a really wild, rad community to be a part of. I'm talking wild. There are stories that I will tell you throughout time that you'd be like, did he make this up or did this really happen? And yeah, well, you'll never know. Either way, it's hopefully a good story. So that kind of paints a picture. I'm 22 years old. I'm working in one of the wildest streets in the entire United States as far as like open container, live music, debauchery, all of the stuff and things is everywhere. And I live downtown as well. And from that scene and from hanging out in the band space, I started to really create my own story. And this story led to more music. Hanging out with Ashley Red in the music space there, like literally half a block down from Sun Studios on, I believe that's Broad. I also got to hang out with a band called Breaking Point, and they were a local band signed. And the reason they got signed, or one of the reasons they got signed, was Mike Wandell, who was the music director of 92.9 WMFS, 93X, the new rock alternative. And so he was there all the time, and we basically didn't really say anything nice to each other at all for like the 6 months or so that this went on. But it wasn't mean either. We were just like giving each other a hard time. Giving it the goods. And one day he just asked me, and I didn't even know who he was, to be quite honest. I had no idea he was in radio or none of that stuff. He was just a dude I talk shit with. And he asked me if I ever thought about doing radio for a living. And I was like, I honestly haven't thought about doing anything for a living at all. Like, I don't even know what's out there yet. I'm still very young in a lot of different ways. And, oh my goodness, I can see myself. We can do better. Whew. All right. It may sound the same, but at least I feel like I look better. So, yeah, we didn't really know each other, and he asked me about radio, and I was kind of, like, blown away. I was like, what do you mean do radio for a living? Yeah, it may be all around us all the time, especially at that time period in, society when CD players were still all the rage. Radio stations were super relevant, and they still are in a lot of ways, but this was, like, radio, bud. And internet was just really getting kicked off with all the streaming systems and stuff like that, so radio was still top dog. I said yes, and he took me under his wing. He brought me into the boards on off hours on the weekends for a couple of weekends in a row. I picked up the boards really well and turned into an octopus really quickly. And then I ended up getting my own scheduled shows. And my favorite part of those shows is why we are here today. The interaction with people. Like, most of you know that I'm an MC professionally, so it's like being a radio DJ, but without the wall of no people. Like you put the microphone on and there's 30,000 people in front of you. And it's like, yeah, that interaction, that energy, I just fed off of it. And when people call in, there's a similar energy. Like you can absolutely connect. Sometimes it's hilarious. Sometimes it's informative. Every time I was trying to mess with people, and it was just a blast, and I felt like honestly that was some of my best work, and that's a bunch of stuff in between is how we get here, and that's why I wanted to do the podcast this way. So I did radio for a few years, never really took it seriously, looked a gift horse right in the tonsils, and that was kind of like the end of it, just kind of like fizzled out and stopped. Like I just was doing other things, I was partying super super hard, so like career stuff was never anything on my list. And for whatever reason, I had it up in my mind that I'm not going to live past 30. So let's just go and hit the throttle and just say yes to everything and blah, 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 blah. A lot of us have been there before in our lives. This was that period. I was very feral and was not very good at being feral, turns out. So I ended up back in Memphis for about 3 years. And I'm kind of done with it. You know, I graduated high school from the area. I had literally been a part of, if not through or facilitated or invited to the best and wildest events and parties that Memphis has to offer. And I wanted to go see some more. And being in the Navy, like I just was, like you're always in the move, different city all the time, different dot on the map in the water, like you're kinetic as hell. And I still had that bug in me. So I wanted to go somewhere I'd never been, where I didn't know anyone, not for any reason other than it sounded interesting. I don't know what a true fresh start is like that. So, let's go. And a few weeks later, I was on the road. Funny thing about that is my family moved there before me because my old man got a job offer when I'd made this decision, and oddly enough, to the same area. So my dad gets there first. He buys, the family house. I get there second, take over the basement. I get there second, take over the basement. And then mom gets her job transfer. She finally gets to move there. The three of us are in the house. One of my sisters, Rachel, is still in Memphis by herself. And she was like, screw this. I'm not staying here alone. She comes to Colorado. And let me just stop you right there. So I don't know why I failed to mention this, but I decided to move to Denver, Colorado. And my father got a job offer to Castle Rock, Colorado, which is like 45 minutes south. So, yeah. Sorry about leaving out the important information. Let's get back to it. Well, so the family's all together again. This is 2005 now, and I don't want to go back to the bars. I had a blast, but I had done it. And I did it hard, and I definitely wanted a break. So I chose an opportunity to be a truck driver, an 18-wheeler driver for a beer distributor in Colorado, which was a really cool job. Another added to the list of things I never thought I'd say yes to. And that's how I learned the roads of Colorado before I started riding Harleys. And I just going all over the mountains. I had mountain routes. So the city that I lived in confused me. I didn't know where anything was because I spent 5 days a week, 14 hours a day, all up in the mountains. Denver's here. Mountains are hour and a half. You're in the thick of it. And it was a wild adventure. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about living in the snow. And over the first year of me being there, I also found my way back into the bar. It's a really fun place to exist, man. What can I say? It's really hard to know where the good times are. They're not hiding. You know where they are now. You've got a map. And when you find that map, you don't get rid of that map. If I want to go out there right now and go make a few bad decisions without knowing people that make those bad decisions, it won't take me very long to figure it out. And by the end of the night, hair's on fire, and here we are streaking down the middle of the street again. I mean, I could do that sober too, but this access to that was serious. But what are you going to do? I'm drawn to music. I'm drawn, especially at this point, really heavy into punk rock, rockabilly stuff, which was this bar, Bender's Tavern, downtown Denver, right next to the Capitol building on 13th and Grant. It's not there anymore, so don't go look for it. But Bender's Tavern was the epicenter of the punk rock, skateboard, art community in Denver, Colorado. And I went there one night and walked into one of the most serious karaoke nights of my entire life. I'm talking there was talent and you better pay attention. Don't be talking during them songs. You'll have some girl with victory rolls on up there come down and give you a piece of it. No lie. It was really cool. And I was just having a blast sitting at the bar, watching some kooks be kooky and making fun of them to the bartender, Mama, who is still a very great friend of mine, and Jermaine, also a great friend, both still in Denver. And Mama looks at me. She was like, Dumptruck. She's from Beaumont, Texas. Texas Rice Queen, tell you right now. Dumptruck, you are hilarious. You need to work here. Would you work here? Have you ever worked in a bar before? I was like, listen, I just spent 3 years on Beale Street. Yes, I have absolutely worked in a bar before, and this place ain't nothing. She goes, oh, I know Beale Street. And, a couple weeks later, I had my first shift there, and I was bouncing in a punk rock bar, which sounds just as gnarly as it was. It was super active, but I had a smile on my face. I made a lot of new, nice people, got a lot more stories, a few more scars. And I was just having the best of times. And at that same time, I ended up getting close with one of the local roller derby players, which I didn't know that they played roller derby. But we became friends, and she knew a bit of my story, like doing radio. It wasn't that old. It was pretty fresh. And I guess I'm funny sometimes. So she invites me out to a tryout for being a women's roller derby announcer. So I drive up to Brighton, Colorado at the Wagon Wheel Skating Rink. And I read a Charmin commercial. And by the end of that Charmin commercial, everybody's laughing. And I am offered one of the announcing positions. And that was the beginning of a whole era. I kind of like touched a microphone in Memphis, a really cool one. And still didn't grasp at it. It wasn't clicking. Like, this was a thing. This is your calling, dude. Like, talking too much is your jam. Like, and for some reason, people don't hate me for it. And it was just, I think I had the confidence knowing that, hey man, I've rocked a real microphone before, even if I didn't take the career opportunity very seriously. And then, the amount of confidence you gain from things like the military, being a bouncer and stuff like that. When I was asked to be an MC for women's roller derby and learn how to be a sportscaster, I was all in. The answer was yes, no matter what. You couldn't have changed my mind if you wanted to. And thank goodness my mind didn't change. Roller derby took me all over this planet. Like everything else we're talking about tonight, there will be other times for heavy details in it. If you have questions, call the hotline, 833-474-2010, and we will answer those questions. But started with the Denver Roller Dolls and also announced for the Rocky Mountain Roller Girls. And from there, I ended up being one of the key voices of women's roller derby, traveling all over the United States, growing as an MC this whole time, being groomed for these next steps I'm unaware of, right? And all over Canada, United States, Australia. Like, I was one of a few people that were blessed to be a part of that whole circus that could travel that way. Because I worked in the bars and I worked in music venues and stuff. Everybody goes on tour. So like here's something you should write down. If you are wondering, especially as a younger person, like how can you get a job that allows you just to take time off whenever you need it to go do things like that? Well, it's called music. Go work in the place where artists go. And that are where the vocations are that are designed for you to actually be able to go do you. Like there's lots of paths to success. Like for me, I needed as much freedom as possible and then something to return to recharge batteries and bank accounts. And that still kind of is my lifestyle, now umpteen years later. And pardon me, important stuff here. Gotta stay liquidated. One of my on sale. But women's roller derby took me all over the place. And at one point in 2008, roller derby and I started together in 2006. So yeah, it's 2008 and this concert festival is coming through town. And one of the production crew members knew of me because we'd worked together for roller derby and they just lost their MC. And that's how I ended up getting the gig. Turns out it was with Southern Comfort. So a booze company. What a great time to be the MC for a concert festival series of Jack Daniels and Southern Comfort and all the brands that come along with it. I mean, that was wild. Again, another job that I did not know existed. But because of my time in radio, because of my time in women's roller derby, I was ready for it. And I excelled. That one gig turned into 3 years of touring with that company. And in the middle of that time, actually later that year, in the following year in 2009, Harley-Davidson calls and asks me to be their MC for Daytona Bike Week. I'd met someone that was a part of the marketing company they had hired at a bar, and he remembered me 9 months later and called me, offers me the gig. I was like, man, when do I go? I had just gotten my Sportster, my 89 Sportster. We'll definitely talk about that later. So I was really, really pumped. I was fresh into the Harleys. I don't know anything about community. I don't know anything about motorcycles at all, other than I have one and I love it and I want to ride it and I just want to know more of it. And so getting an offer from the motor company was massive. Today, if I got an offer from the motor company, it would be massive. It's just a massive thing. And that turned into like 11 years of partnership. I went all over the country with those folks. I lived full time on the road. Come 2011, I leave Denver, Colorado. I pursue a voiceover career in LA. I don't have enough, quite simply, I didn't have enough money to sustain myself to get a start. And then Harley-Davidson called again and said, we want to take you on the road with NHRA, International Motorcycle Shows, rallies, all of it. And I was full-time voice of Harley, voice of Jack Daniels. Sometimes roller derby is starting to wean off now that the job is starting to turn into a real thing. And I mean, I was blazing gone, no address. And I did that for about 9 years without an address. And we'll definitely get into that stuff. And I was just gig to gig to gig. In between gigs, I had a campground or a roller derby friend or somebody else or a storage unit or whatever. And on the weekends, I had a gig. So I had a hotel room and all that stuff. So if you don't have rent to pay, it's really easy to live high on the hog and just stay on the move, living on a Harley-Davidson. At that time, I was on a '07 Street Glide. I had 100,000 miles on that bike before I stopped riding it. And really, that's where I did a lot of my mental health work, and I didn't even know it. Throttle therapy. It is a very, very real thing. And being able to work with the motor company like that, the biggest thing they ever did was invite me into some rooms I never would have been a part of before. And I'm super blessed. I'm still blessed by those relationships that were made in those times. And the gigs were great, but really the handshakes that were made are why I'm still a part of the community at an official capacity now, was from those days. I kind of saw the industry side of things. And then after being involved with the industry, they kept taking me to these community spots. And so then I'd meet some real people, like real bikers, not corporate bikers, like who are also real people, by the way. And then I was like, man, I'm in the wrong position. I need to stop working in the motorcycle industry and I need to go out there and live. And I think at the time I did. And they were dirtbag years, big time dirtbag years, but they were good. You know, I loved being in the dirt. I loved like always being on the move and not necessarily know what's coming next. Like that was really, really, really exciting for me. And that kind of started to come to a head around, 2016, I think was the last time I really got a chance to work for the motor company as part of like regular work. And after that, I started to settle back into Southern California, got a warehouse, built a loft inside. Like it's still not really a legal residence, but a residence, I guess, sort of. Not really. I did have a bed there, and I built a pedestal shower with a buddy of mine, Aaron, and that was like the house. And so still kind of like on the roll, still just kind of like taking it day by day. And had an opportunity to work with Hot Bike Magazine at that time, locally and nationally, and ended up getting some articles published through them. By the way, I am back writing for Hot Bike Magazine, so go check out hotbikemagazine.com, and you'll find one of the articles on there. If you don't want to hunt too hard, just go to the Instagram, and in the link tree, it's in there. Anyways, really, really awesome times. But like my mother had passed away in 2015, and when that happened, everything was really hard. So by the time 16 rolled around, my brain was mush. Like it was mush. I lost everything. I ended up living in my van involuntarily, so it wasn't as cool as it sounds. But it was needed. Like I was a bit broken, not vulnerable, but exposed. And it's not always the same thing. And through my friendships like Ben Magoo and countless others that helped me during that hard time, I was able to go get therapy through the VA, and what a beautiful thing to be able to do. Thank you, microdosing as well. That was a big part of it. We'll touch on that kind of subject as well. And started to get new breath, new life. I got the tools that therapy gives you so you could go live your life and live it strongly, and decided it was time for another change. I was like, okay, so maybe the ramble needs to be over. Also lots of fun and bad decisions in Southern California. And I've been in and out of there for, quite a while at this point. And I was like, okay, let's just relocate. Let's just change everything. I didn't know where I was going to go. I went on the Oregon Run, which was a really rad motorcycle run up in Oregon, just like it sounds. Met some beautiful people, and obviously riding through one of the most beautiful regions in the country. If you have never taken a motorcycle or even a cage drive through that area, do yourself a favor. I mean, there's waterfalls every 15 minutes. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I fell in love with those folks. So when I got back to Southern California, I did whatever I had to do to pack up the van, find a place to live, and just leave. And I did. Boom, gone again. Van breaks down a good 200 miles south, so I end up having the last 200 miles towed. This is why you get AAA, people, because I wouldn't have been able to afford it if I didn't have AAA. And that was how Portland started. It's kind of how it ended, too. That was the shortest place I've ever lived anywhere. It was less than a year. I was in, I was out. The vibe wasn't mine. There's a lot of really great people there, a lot of really wonderful things to love about Oregon, but it wasn't for me. And to be honest, at this time, home was calling. I was born in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and I was raised in the swamps, Louisiana, and I really wanted to get back to that. So I made the choice to just go. I went on a few days. I had a few days off, and I went to New Orleans to celebrate Halloween and party with a bunch of friends I had down there. I've always been in and out of Louisiana my whole life. That never really washed off. Louisiana is where my first memories of happiness are. So even though I wasn't born there, I still kind of consider myself from there because that's the first stuff I remember, really. But anyways, a lot of people want to be from there. It's fine. I wasn't from New Orleans. I was from a place called Bayou Lewis, Louisiana. It's in the swamp, like alligators in the backyard, all that good stuff. Those things are real. And it was calling. So I went back down to New Orleans. And by the time I got there, my friend Patrick Tilbury, who owns Royalty Racing, says, well, I guess you can't come down here without a job. And I need someone to sell these exhaust pipes. You want to come down here and do that? Boom. Absolutely. I got a house like 273 steps away from the shop. It was awesome. Right there in the middle of everything I wanted to be. Like far away enough to not get in the middle of it, close enough to stumble upon it on accident. And that's what New Orleans is good for. And it was a really great time. Wasn't as much travel. So it was starting to calm down a little bit like I wanted. Like I had a job to go to every day. I wasn't an independent contractor, entrepreneur doing all of the stuff and things. I was like, I just want to be able to clock in, let someone else worry about my taxes, and I can just go file them at the end of the year without doing all of the stuff you have to do as a true independent. And and then, of course, pandemic hits. During that time, I am blessed enough to meet the love of my life, Sabine, who is being very nice and quiet while I record this podcast in my living room, our living room. and that was the beginning of everything that's happened since. Really, that moment, meeting that woman at that time, and us finding each other, and both being on the precipice of change. She was in a place where she wanted to grow. I was in a place where I wanted to grow. And to grow means, at that time, we need to leave New Orleans, right? And so we decided to do that. And at this point, I've been a brand ambassador, an influencer, an MC for a writer, photographer, whatever, all those things for years. And so I was like, well, let's see if I can create a partnership. And I hooked up with Black Series Campers, still work with them today. Absolutely amazing product, wonderful people. And we built a partnership. And I sold the only Harley I've ever sold to my friend Miles. Be watching out, Miles. I'm probably going to try and buy that thing back this year. Just saying. And with the money, I bought a F-250 because we're going to pull a trailer. And Sabine and I were gone. Basically, for 2 years. Again, back to no address. Went straight to the Ramble. But that's where the work was, COVID shut everything down for most people. But if you were like a professional wanderer, it just made it way easier to wander. And we did that a lot. And she's got some extremely professional skills where we were able to work together in order to make the money happen on the road. And we went everywhere. And by the time the end of 2022 comes around, we don't know where we want to go for the winter. And I get a phone call from Sawicki Speed saying, hey, we'd like you to come here and help us with our content and be like our official brand ambassador. And I said, All right. We talked about the math. The math was great. I said, we'll be there in 2 weeks. They were like, you're going to move here? I was like, we literally did not know what our next move was. Like, do we want to go to the desert or Florida in the wintertime? Those are your options for enjoyment. And we didn't really want to go to either. So this was perfect. Like, I mean, we are so close to the Blue Ridge Mountains. We are so close to the Atlantic Ocean and so close to things like Atlanta, New York City. It's a really cool spot to be in. And Blue Ridge Mountains was on our list. So we said yes to it and stayed on the road for almost another full year, towing the line for Sawicki Speed all over the country. I mean, we went to over 30 events in 2023. Sorry, in 2023, we went to over 33 events all over the United States, setting up pop-ups, hauling around motorcycles, telling everybody how great the stainless steel exhaust pipes are, and they are. And now that kind of leads us up to where we are. You know, my time with Sawicki Speed as brand manager lasted just over 2 years. And now I'm back to being an independent, still working with Sawicki Speed, creating content, but more promoting my own brand, more doing my own thing, blazing my own trail. And part of that is the I Speak Good podcast. I'm continuing to work towards becoming a full-time voice actor. I really enjoy the podcasting episodes that I've been a part of in the past as a guest. And I'm really looking forward to holding onto the steering wheel and seeing where this goes. I have no idea where it's going to go. I know it's going to be a lot of fun figuring it out. And especially having y'all to help figure it out with me is going to make it a lot more fun. And I mean, that is the broad stroke of the brush. That's kind of like how my voice career started and where it is now, to where I'm currently doing my own podcast, currently doing voice acting, and still a content creator, brand ambassador, and MC in the motorcycle and overlanding industries. Boom. That's me, y'all. That's me in my adult years. Thanks for listening to this part. I am really excited that, honestly, it's over. I really don't want this show to be about me, like, at all. But I figured an intro in episode 1 is the way to go. And now, without further ado, I think we should go to the hotline. I very much have been looking forward to this. Let me make sure everything is potted up right. It is. All right, cool. So the hotline, y'all. This is a way we get to interact with each other. You can drive the show with your own ideas. I'll be listening to them. If there's something you want to listen to me talk with someone about, tell me who you want me to interview, what you want us to talk about. I'll put it on the list. I'll try to make it happen. It's free, obviously. Just leave a voicemail. It will evolve, hopefully, into live calls during a live show, but we'll grow there together. It'll take a minute. Right now, it's the one-man band known as Dumptruck. And this has just been really fun and exciting. So, like, yeah, anyways, I'm not going to talk more about it. Let's listen to this thing. So, obviously, I'm really stoked. I got to leave the first voicemail.
Oh, my goodness. I get to leave the first voicemail on my hotline. I have a hotline. Dumptruck. You should call it. This is going to be ridiculous.
I could not contain myself, blowing the microphone out and everything. And yeah, I don't want to contain myself. All right, let's see who this is. I believe this is, oh yeah, we've got some serious heavy hitters starting this up.
Yeah, this is Senator Ford. Do you?
I feel like I'm in trouble.
Y'all smell that? There's something like, it's kind of like a distant, you can smell it kind of on the wind. It's like not too far distant. It's like on the horizon. There's something.
Can you smell that? Does he have smell of fish? What the hell? Not everything makes sense.
Hey, Dumptruck, it's Big Kev.
Yeah.
When you're ready for those tour bus stories, you know how to get a hold of a brother.
Oh, dog.
Peace.
That is really cool. So Big Kev is what he sounds like. He's a big dude named Kev. And I really appreciate the love. He drives massive rock and roll tour buses, legit. And that's just him saying for whenever I get big to make sure that he's the one that drives me around. Dog, there ain't nobody else. I don't know if anybody else put up with me like that. Yeah, when I make it big, you'll be the second to know.
Hi, Dumptruck. This is Hugh Janus.
Oh,
and
God.
I wanted to see if you'd seen that sick new chopper helmet from Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. I think it's pretty cool that they're getting into the old school game and representing open face helmets, but just want to get your thoughts on it. So, yeah, man, have a rad day.
Well, I am very glad to say that I know a lot about that helmet. I just finished riding with it for the first time in Southern California, and I loved it. Three-quarter helmet for me has always been hard to enjoy. They're just a lot of times they can just be an awkward helmet. But Simpsons changed the fitment. They have a different shell size for every size, so you don't get this like oversized look. It's really plush on the inside. It's got vents in it, and mine's carbon fiber. Not a lot of carbon fiber three-quarter helmets out there. It's pretty tight. So, and you'll be hearing more about Simpson because I'm really blessed to be a part of the Simpson family. So Simpson helmets are what this house is all about, babe. Thanks for the call, Hugh Janus. Like I said, don't grow up, people.
Hey, Dumptruck. This is Oshi Go-Go.
Yeah.
And I'm calling from northeast central Florida, Palm Coast to be specific. Anyway, I saw there you were asking what events I'm looking forward to. And of course, I'm looking forward to Bike Week just around the corner.
Yeah, baby.
But we got something bigger and better coming down here on the 31st of this month. Doug Meeker, who is Daytona HD Wheelies, he's doing another Daytona Drift down at Volusia Top Gun.
I'm going to stop her right there. And I'm going to start it back up here in a minute so you can hear it. Now, to understand all that is Doug Meeker, Daytona HD Wheelies on Instagram, dude's got one foot. So he has got a prosthetic and he does more burnouts better, more lefty donuts better, more righty donuts better than almost anybody I've ever seen do it. The guy's a showman 100%. And it's really cool because his daughter is now a part of their program too. So you can see her stunt as a part of it. And there she is right there. And she's a part of it. It's just a really good show. So I believe her when you say that, you should go see this. So listen up if you're going to be in Daytona at the end of January.
This month, Doug Meeker, who is Daytona HD Wheelies, he's doing another Daytona Drift down at Volusia Top Gun. That'll be on the 31st of January. I believe it's from 7 to 11. Anyway, this is the second one, and the first one was bad fucking ass. I guess my question for you is, just want to know what you're wearing, like right this very second. No, I'm just kidding, bro.
I'm wearing
Anyway,
a Simpson
I'm rocking
t-shirt.
your pipe, the Wiki for Life, pulling 130 and 140 torque on a 23 Lowrider ST. Let's fucking go. I'm looking forward to your show.
Oh, she go just laying it down. This woman is obviously rad and excited about what's happening in motorcycling today and doesn't like going slow. 130 horsepower and 140 torque. If you don't ride motorcycles, just know that is power that will get you out of the hole quick and in a hurry. Way to go, Oshi. I cannot wait to see that Sawicki on your bike. Let's see here. Who we got next? Boop.
Hey, Dumptruck, this is Tim,
I was like, hey.
Taco Heart on the picture app. Anyway, I know all the important questions have been asked, like what your favorite color and what your favorite pair of shoes are. But if you could be a dinosaur, what kind of dinosaur are you going to be? I'm going to be an Allosaurus because it looks like a hardcore T-Rex. I don't usually speak with a New York accent. I don't know. I did that. Later.
It's a pretty decent New York accent. It sounded kind of natural there, but I guess whenever we talk about dinosaurs, our inner New Yorker just comes out. So which dinosaur would I be? So I fancy myself more of a wrecking ball than I do a man of technique. It's how I got the name Dumptruck, by mowing people over, literally, in a fun way. Well, yeah, in a fun way for me. So I think that I would probably be like a Stegosaurus, to be real, because I feel like they are, and I don't know. I'm sure we could go look it up somewhere on the internet, maybe. If only we had a supercomputer that would fit in our pocket. Anyways, I feel like I'd be a Stegosaurus because I think that they're like one of the ancestors of the rhinoceros, and that's a whole group of people that just smash right through a situation and make it to the other side, and that's how I do. I just try to leave a small wake these days. Stegosaurus, baby! And I like plants, man. They're delicious. I eat bunches of them, like so many of them. Maybe we should talk about cooking at some point. Anyways, stay on task, Dumptruck. Thanks for the call, Taco Love. I appreciate it. Stegosaurus, bro. Don't come eat me. Who we got up here next?
Dumptruck, my brother. This is Wolfie. Shouting out to you, just saying, man, I'm proud of you. Keep killing it. Keep doing what you do. I really got no ideas at this point. I just wanted to give a shout out to you on your hotline because usually I do this kind of thing where I need to talk to somebody or shout out to somebody and they're not awake or whatever. Anyway, buddy, good luck with this. I'll be doing my best to listen. Maybe later I'll come up with a better idea for you or something. I don't know. I just say, yeah, get it all involved with what you've been doing, what you've done in the past. I say maybe music as well. Get that involved.
Definitely gonna talk about music.
I don't know, man. Do what you do, Dumptruck. It always is great. You're a fantastic person. And you're my secret spirit animal. I love you, man.
Man.
You've helped me through a lot, and just with your videos and whatever you do and on Instagram and all that. But podcast, best of luck to you, brother. Love you. And, yeah, who knows? We'll talk down the line, I hope. Wolfie is out. Love you. Later.
Wolfie, you are a very, very special man. And I am very glad to be your friend after all these years. And thank you so much for that support and for being the one that makes me cry on my first podcast. But for real, man, thank you so much. Like, it's heartfelt. You're a great dude. You're a proud father. You just keep at it, my friend. And we'll see each other in Denver for the Colorado Motorcycle Expo. First weekend of February. All right? Make your way there. Come find me. I'll be the guy talking too much in a damn microphone. Thanks, bro, for real. Like, from the heart. Appreciate you very much. That hit me in the feels. All right, who's up here now?
Dumptruck, this is Gethin Jenkins.
Yeah!
I was thinking about you, and I'm happy you got this podcast going. I was thinking about the day we met. And it was about the same time that I quit working for the second biggest conglomerate in the world and started playing outlaw country. And you were living next door
This is Long Beach.
in a damn lockout.
Yeah, in the
and you
warehouse.
had a party and you had a Sportster and you was wearing them that thong you had on. Son, I've never been the same. Love you.
Son.
Continued success. Can't wait to squeeze you, buddy.
Much love, Gethin.
Get the Jenkins on side.
Oh, he snuck in there with the tag. Gethin Jenkins, y'all, one of the finest human beings I've been able to call friend, and easily one of the most talented musicians that I know. And I've worked in music almost my entire life. The dude's real. Gethin, I love you, man. I'm glad the thong didn't scare you off. Apparently, it's like moths to a flame with that stuff. I will absolutely see you soon. And we're going to have Gethin on the show. He doesn't know. He's finding out right now. We're going to have Gethin on the show. We're probably going to get him to play some music here and there. I think every once in a while I should probably just have a music showcase where I don't do a whole lot of talking. We just get to enjoy some music and maybe talk about the stories that wrote them. Let me know if you like that idea. If you do, call the hotline. Let me know who you'd like me to have on the show, and I will do my best to make it work out. I don't know about y'all, but I'm high, I'm low, I'm crying, I'm laughing. This is awesome. I'm having a blast. Thank you, everybody, for staying with the hotline. Here we go. We got another one.
Hey, Bubba.
Oh, that's my sister, y'all.
One of them.
One of my sisters, yeah.
And I just wanted to call and tell you congratulations on your podcast. Super excited to see what comes out of it. I really hope that it's clean enough for Oren to listen
That's my nephew.
But we wanted, in celebration of your first podcast, we wanted to call and ask some questions.
Uh-oh. She knows too much.
To answer. So the first question is, I want to know who your favorite sister is.
Not touching that.
And Oren has a question for you. When can I come over and see you? Oh, I like that one. He wants to come see you. So, congratulations on your first one. We love you.
Man. Y'all, I have one of the most special nephews that exists. Obviously, I've got a great sister. I have two great sisters. Oren, buddy, I'll have my tour schedule here soon. Once I know exactly what 2025 looks like for me and where I'm going to be and how I'm going to be there, I'm going to bring you on tour. Everybody that's here listening to this podcast, get ready to meet my nephew. We're going to teach him some stuff. Thanks for trusting me with your son, sis. Oh, goodness. You're not supposed to say yes to everything. But yeah, thank you. That's pretty damn special. Oh, all right. Oh, I love family. I really do. Let's see. Who is this?
Yeah, this is Senator Ford. Do you?
How many times is Senator Ford going to call? There's another phone call. Oh, man.
Yeah, this is your senator again. The smell is really, it's getting to me. It's a familiar smell. It's not a bad smell. It's a good smell.
Oh, it's a good smell.
I still can't figure this out. It's like, it's got a sweetness to it, but it's kind of like a bakery. It's like, it's getting stronger too. Like since yesterday, it's getting stronger. It's like somebody walked through the room, or there's like maybe a bakery in the back of the house and you can smell it through the house. We'll figure this out. We will figure this out.
I am lost. What the absolute fuck is this? All right. So this is the thing that I used to do. You have some people that call in that are just having a good time and they create a character. Well, I'm going to nurture that. Senator, I'm going to need you to continue to call with guidance on the smell situation. And if everyone that's listening thinks it would be fun to have whoever the hell who was it? Senator Ford. Maybe we'll have you on the show. Who knows? I've made lots of worse decisions thinking about it way longer. So why not make a terrible decision not thinking about it at all? There you go. Oh my God, is this him again?
Yeah, this is your senator. And I figured out that smell. It's a birthday cake. Happy birthday, Dumptruck.
Dog.
Tomorrow. I hope you have a big weekend planned. I hope you have a lot of good plans. Make some memories. Get into trouble. Just get out of jail by Monday.
I know what this
Take
is.
care, buddy.
Man. That was fun. I don't know about y'all, but I did not know that was happening. And yes, my birthday is tomorrow, and it will be smelling like cake because I'm going to bake one. I am a baker, a very serious one. I do lots of breads, desserts, anything I can put into an oven. Like, I'm here for it. Maybe we'll talk about that at some point. If you like baking, maybe we should have a baking episode. I know some really talented chefs that could teach us some stuff. All right, this is the last one.
Yo, Dumptruck. This is Jake out of Wisconsin. First and foremost, happy early birthday. It is the 17th. Apparently your birthday is tomorrow. Just calling in because I had a few things I wanted to question and answer about. First of all, you going to be announcing Flat Out Friday this year again? We always love it when you do. The other thing is Mark Martinage. He was announcing last year with you. Unfortunately, he had a bad crash kind of changed his life. I'm sure you heard about, but I was wondering if maybe you wanted to go into that more on your show. I know that there's some relief stuff financially to help him out in his time of need. I know that Lady Cannon was doing something. Andy Clark, Class Meets Trash on Instagram, was part of, or the person to start the race. We had a benefit race inside of a building, 9,000 square feet of flat track silliness. Just wanted to touch on that subject to see if maybe we could bring some more awareness to Mark Martinage and helping him out maybe. Other than that, really looking forward to the start of the podcast, which apparently is tomorrow. I know
it is.
Wisconsin's gearing up and getting ready for Flat Out Friday and Mama Tried show, and that's always a fun time.
It's the best.
So maybe a shout out there possibly. Other than that, I hope you have a great first podcast.
Hey, I think it's going well. Bro, thank you so much for calling. I ain't heard that voice in forever. There's been some familiar voices that I haven't seen faces to in a super long time. And that just tells me that you still love me. And I really appreciate and I value your love. Thank you so very much for all the support. To answer your questions, yes, I will be at Flat Out Friday. I won't be on the microphone as of right now. I haven't heard anything. I will be the MC at Mama Tried, though. So let's hang out at Flat Friday. And then we'll hang out at Mama Tried because that's what we do. We're going to talk more about Mama Tried and the other events that are coming up. So that's already on my list. It's happening February 22nd, 23rd, if my brain is right, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. If you've never been before, you got to go. I'll tell you a lot more about that early February. Second episode is definitely, the second or third are going to be about events. Because they're happening and they start like this month, basically. February 1st is the beginning of my event season and it ends in November. So lots to talk about. Lots of time to do it. Do me a big favor, y'all. This is the call to action. I need you to follow. I need you to share. I need you to subscribe. This podcast is found everywhere that podcasts can be uploaded. Podbean is who I use for my distribution. So you can find it on iTunes. You can find it on Spotify. If you can't find it through whatever search engine you use, let me know and I'll do the best I can to make it available to you. My name's Dumptruck and you've been listening to the I Speak Good podcast. Work it out. We done. I speak good.